Okay, pile one. How do you soothe your PMS? Before I pulled cards, I wanted to bring some messages through. And what I got for you is that your struggle is being very frustrated, irritable, and like angry or annoyed. You're just trying to go about your daily life and work your job or school or whatever you have, and things are just making you so angry and tense and just a lot of frustration. And what your guides are saying could help you out is having time away from stimulation where you can just have some quiet mental health time. So I know it's hard to do, but if you can make a regular habit of doing something, having your own space around you and doing something that is has nothing to do with stimulating your mind. So I'm getting, if you can make a regular habit of something like journaling, meditating, sitting in nature, or going for a quiet walk in nature, even sitting in a dark room for a few minutes, or possibly having like a cozy hobby like crochet or doing a puzzle. I was getting very particularly that what would help you the most is having something that doesn't stimulate your mind at all. So it's saying like no scrolling on your phone, no taking in content. I was getting like probably not even like reading a book, because you want time for your mind to be able to just settle. So even if you go outside and you're just sitting there and just listening to the breeze or looking at the clouds, just taking like, even if you can only do 10 minutes, just sitting in nature with no stimulation would be incredible for you. Or meditating, that journaling could also help, even though that seems a little stimulating, but it's just being able to take some quiet time away to yourself to just feel peace and just let all that frustration out. And if you can make a regular habit of this, not even just when you're PMSing, but throughout the whole month, even if you could do it like twice a month, just escape a little bit, have quiet and have space to just do nothing. It would help settle your mind and help get that frustration out of you. Okay, I wanted to pull cards on how you can use PMS to your benefit. When you PMS, we're just in like a different type of an energy. And for different people, that can mean different things. And for you, I pulled Queen of Pentacles, Death, and Temperance. So this was really interesting because it fits so well with what the advice was for you to do. And Queen of Pentacles came out first, and it gave me the idea that this is the perfect time for you to sit back, sort of remove yourself like the advice was, and assess the big picture. So your advice was to, if you have a job or school, you're just going about your daily life, if you could remove yourself from that a bit and just sit, that would help you. And then how you use the time to your benefit is taking in the big picture of your life and not getting lost in the small mundane things. It's like literally removing yourself and viewing it as an observer and an outsider. And with death is destruction of things that don't work so you can transform your life. Like, it's about cutting away things that no longer work. Sorry for the noise outside. But the cards are saying you can use your PMS time to take a step back and observe your life, and then see in an honest way what really isn't working anymore, and what you can cut away, and what you can renew or sort of reinvest your energy in. Temperance is a coming together of different elements. Temperance is suggesting that maybe there are elements of your life that could be combined or that would fit together better, but you're not seeing it because you're lost in sort of the details. You're up close, you're in your life, you're living it, you're doing the tasks, and if you stepped back, maybe you would see things in a different way. You would see how pieces go together that you didn't realize went together before. And you could put things together in a more efficient way, and a way that would really, I'm getting that would kind of save you energy. So it would be sort of assessing your life and reassembling the pieces in a way to make a smoother life. So that's the advice I have for you. Let me know if you have any questions below, and thank you for being here. Bye. Okay, pile 2. How do you soothe your PMS? I wanted to bring through some information before I even pulled cards. So what I have, your struggle while you're PMSing is being very like weepy, crying, sad, this sort of emotional mess, but in a sadness way. So pile 1 was more like anger, frustration, and yours is more like sad and crying. And I just kept getting the picture of these extremely turbulent waters, this emotional force that is just sort of having its way with you. The water is just throwing you around, and there's a bit of like a franticness and just I don't really know what to do with this energy. So it just makes you like, sort of freak out and cry. So the advice that I was getting is deep breathing exercises. If you get the time or the chance, or if you can sort of make the space and time to just sit and close your eyes and just do deep breathing. I was also getting guided meditations could help you, and water sounds. So water kept coming up when I was getting information from you, and it was saying that listening to ocean sounds or like river sounds while you're just sitting and doing deep breathing or sort of meditating, or maybe even when you're just going about it, as you're getting ready in the morning, just putting on the ocean would really help soothe those turbulent waters inside of you. And a particular exercise came through where you can sit down and see like inside of you that there is just this like ocean that is like whirlpool and waves and just sloshing around, this like violent waters, and you could sit down and sort of picture that inside of you as the emotional force, and then do deep breathing and just picture it leveling out. So instead of like waves crashing from side to side and the water going everywhere, you just with your mind picture it settling down and being calm, and it's just this gentle like ocean, and that will help calm down those emotions. And let's see, the other advice was to realize that water flows, so you don't have to contain it. You don't have to try to stop the flow. You can't stop the flow of water. It's going to do what it wants to do. So it's saying just sort of let it go instead of trying to control it and trying to keep yourself from feeling any sort of emotions that are bad. Just let go, and even the act of that will help it calm down. Because it's sort of like if you're trying to contain it or control it, or you're trying to not be sad, you're sort of taking the water and like compressing it and putting more pressure on it. So if you just let it go, it will help it sort of calm naturally. So if you want to cry, just let yourself cry. Don't try to stop it. And you can also picture yourself being more of an observer of the water instead of being lost and thrown around in it. So the energy right now is like you're in the turbulent waters, and it's just throwing you from side to side and you have no control. So if you just take deep breaths and sort of picture yourself outside of the water, just watching it flow and letting whatever emotions that want to come through, and just sort of watching them just pass through you and allowing them to pass through you, that it would do a lot to help calm this, and it would get rid of that feeling of turmoil and of not being in control. So that's the advice I pulled through. And when we PMS, we're in sort of a different type of energy than we normally are. So I wanted to pull cards on how you can use this energy and how you can use PMS to your benefit. Your cards are very interesting. This is the Hierophant, Fortitude, and Six of Wands. With the Hierophant, this is a wise, sorry if you can hear the noise outside, but this is a wise, highly spiritual individual, and they know how to live life in a spiritual way. I get the feeling that when you PMS, you are in more of a spiritual energy than you normally are, and you can use this to explore yourself and to find your strength so that you can use spirituality in tune with your physical life and come out stronger and victorious. You have Fortitude and Six of Wands. These are both cards of fight and victory. There is something about what you can tap into spiritually while you're PMSing that will allow you to find your inner strength that will help you win. You know, whatever the situation is in your life that it's talking about, or it's probably just multiple situations through your life, it can help you be victorious and help you merge spirituality deeper into yourself so that you feel more powerful in the physical world and you can bring about more outcomes that you desire. Which is interesting because your advice was about not having the waters control you, but taking a step back and you sort of controlling and calming down the water. And now we're getting this message of you being able to control life around you in a more thorough and deep way because of what you can spiritually tap into. I think during PMS, we literally get more sensitive, right? And yours is about sensitivity. So I think something about this sensitivity also makes you more sensitive to spirit. I think that you will be able to, whatever your sort of spiritual gifts are, whether it's like meditation, getting in tune with your spirit guides, getting in touch with your higher self, getting advice, or getting healing energy, maybe all of it, you're more sensitive to it in PMS. So you can use spirituality and pull through spirituality more while you're PMSing. And this is going to help you overall become and feel more powerful so that you can create the life you want. It was a pretty incredible message. And I pulled more cards on this. Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups, and Wheel of Fortune. Queen of Wands is, you got two queens now. This is power. There's something about you becoming more powerful if you use PMS as a time to be very spiritual. Queen of Wands is a force. She's in tune with her instincts and her soul, and she knows what she wants. Queen of Cups is very compassionate, and she really understands emotional nature in general, whether it be hers or the people around her. And Wheel of Fortune is like the same message as the Hierophant. Wheel of Fortune is the universe working in your favor. So I think if you use PMS as a time to deepen your spirituality and deepen your knowledge of yourself, and maybe use it as a time to like do shadow work and these deep internal healing, it will help you realize your own individual and unique power. And it will help you sort of pull spirit down into you and out into your world. And you'll be able to I just see you feeling more confident, feeling more powerful in this really in touch, in tune, intuitive, spiritual way. And then using that to sort of turn the cogs in your life and get things going in the direction that you want them to. So that was an incredible message. Let me know if you have any questions or anything down below. Thank you for being here, and hope we'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, pile 3. How do you soothe your PMS? I wanted to bring through what you felt like during PMS and then some advice before I even pulled cards. And this is definitely a very heavy and intense pile. Pile 1 and 2 were just very regular PMS symptoms. This one is a lot more deep and intense. So if this doesn't resonate with you, just pick a different pile. But the very first thing that I brought through was that when you PMS, it is like you are being swallowed by a dark hole. Like the world and issues and this just darkness swallows you up and you just sit in this hole by yourself. This feels like depression. It's very intense feelings of powerlessness, sadness, isolation. You feel like there's no connections, like might feel like no one cares about you, that things are pointless. It's a very difficult and very dark time. And the message that I brought through is that these things that you're feeling that sort of rear their head at you during PMS time are actually like indicators of deeper childhood wounding. Like the message I have is that PMS isn't really the problem. It feels like you might be someone who sort of struggles every day, and then PMS comes and it becomes unbearable. The struggle is 100 times worse. Or maybe you're someone who can get through the day, but you have bad moments here and there. What I'm getting is that you're someone who has this deep childhood wounding. You have these feelings of like isolation and powerlessness. And then when PMS comes, it rises it to the surface so that it becomes impossible for you to like push it back down, and really difficult for you to just keep carrying on and keep going. So the advice is to deal with and try to heal the feelings that are coming up. If there's any sort of, if you have access to like a therapy or counseling and can bring these issues to them, because I feel like it could be confusing. The advice is to not go to a therapist and say, I'm having issues with my PMS. The advice is to take the feelings you feel during PMS and bring those. So you would go in and say, I feel this intense isolation. And you would sort of heal and deal with that. And then when that is like healed and out of your system, and you've healed that wound in that inner child, or you've dealt with it, then that emotion won't become unbearable and just swallow you up when you PMS. Other things you can do are like shadow work, any kind of shadow work, parts work, like deep inner healing work. There's a video that I end up recommending in those readings a lot. I've done the process quite a few times. It's a process, and it's a free video on YouTube, is just why I recommend it, because it's a free resource. But it's by Teal Swan, and I know people have like strong feelings about her, but the video process is interesting, and it's where you just sort of do deep breathing and have an emotion. So for you, it would be like powerlessness or isolation. You would pick one and just let it fill you up and sink into it. And you sort of find where this wound came from. You would find the inner child inside of you that is carrying this wound, and then you just sort of be for them what no one was for you at the time. You sink so deep into your sense of isolation that you find where the wound came from. You find this inner child that has this feeling all the time, and you allow them to express everything that they want to express about their sadness, their feelings, if they want to scream or cry, and you give them the love that they didn't get, the support that they didn't get. You hug them, you comfort them, you tell them that they're incredible, that you love them, that you are connected to them, and that you will take care of them. And then that inner child doesn't just sit inside of you as this wound. It can grow and heal and move on from the wound and sort of integrate back into you. So that's a process you could use. There are also various like deep healing guided meditations you could use. Some of them are on YouTube. There's like inner child. There are like free guided meditations for meeting your inner child on YouTube. I'm just trying to think of things that you would be able to have access to. I know not everyone can go to therapy. Or you could do, if you can go and do these things, I mean, it's not going to hurt to do these meditations. And we have so many inner children. So this is a process that I see you doing over and over again. Like if you find a guided meditation where you meet your inner child and they can express themselves to you and their pain to you, and then you can comfort them and be there for them. You know, there'll be one for isolation, one for a sense of just general pointlessness, one for, you know, each wound that you have. You can do this over and over again and meet the different inner children who are carrying all this pain inside of you. Because I feel like, yes, it gets unbearable when you PMS, but I think that these wounds were in you for so long that maybe you don't even realize that you've been carrying them. So this will sort of illuminate what is going on in a deeper way, and this is really something that can set you off on a very long and deep healing, very transformative journey for you of really healing your inner self and healing from your past and your childhood and showing up in the world in an entirely different way. So that's very heavy and intense, and that's what I brought through for you. I did pull cards for the other piles as well, as sort of when we PMS, our energy sort of changes. We're in a different energy than we normally are. And I was pulling cards to see like how you could use PMS to benefit you. Seems kind of a cruel thing to say to you, but the cards I got are Knight of Cups, the Lovers, and Six of Pentacles. And this is just reiterating what we're saying. The sort of, I know it's rough. You know, I'm really feeling for you when you're going through this, but the blessing in disguise is that this Knight of Cups energy is that when you PMS, it's bringing to the surface all of these deep inner issues that you're dealing with every day. Maybe some days are better than others, and maybe you can really deal, but I think that you even have wounds that you aren't even aware of, because I feel like you got them quite early on, and you don't know what it's like to not have them. You just don't remember a time before you've had some of these wounds. So PMS takes your depths and your sort of subconscious or unconscious and all those suppressed things, and it brings it to the surface so that you can deal and heal it. And getting that as you heal slowly but surely, these feelings you get during PMS will sort of taper off as you heal something. It doesn't come back up. So you can change your entire experience with PMS and be in a totally different energy if you give a lot of time and to this deep healing. And Knight of Cups is the emotional energy coming to the surface. The Lovers and Six of Pentacles is giving me the feeling that the Lovers is someone who's being called to exactly where their soul wants them to be. And I'm seeing that as you, the older you that you are now, going inside of yourself and finding your wounded past selves and being there for them so that you can heal and move forward in a more positive direction. Six of Pentacles is someone with money and resources and authority giving to someone who doesn't have it. This spread is saying that your emotions come to the surface so you can follow them down to your inner children and give them what you never got. This is very deep, intense healing, and this could completely transform you. It's just taking things one step at a time, dealing with one of the emotions that you're feeling and reckoning with that, and then the next one and the next one, just going down the line. And then as you heal, other things will sort of, you know, these deep inner things will keep flushing to the surface while you PMS, so that you know what to heal and you know what emotion to follow. And I didn't do this for the other piles, but I pulled this for you. What could happen? Did I just move them all? What could happen after this healing? Like, what could be in the future for you? And these cards are beautiful. The Chariot, which is Triumph of Light. The Four of Wands and the Devil. With the Devil card, this is feelings of oppression, very like limiting thoughts. This is very negative. This is living like in an oppressive cage. And the other cards are saying that you can free yourself and you can win. That light can win, that you can transform. I mean, it's called shadow work. So you go into your shadows and you turn them into light. And it's interesting that I kept picturing someone trapped in a cage with the devil and just being squished, because the Chariot has these pillars like a cage, and then Four of Wands is like four pillars, which is also kind of like a cage, but it completely transforms. I think you will be able to burst from this cage and escape all of this darkness and negativity and isolation and all of this pain that you've been carrying for so long that you might not even, I think that you realize that something isn't right, but you really will be able to get to the depths and heal them, and the cage just breaks open. Four of Wands is a card of having something to rejoice, a happy, warm home celebration. And the Chariot is, I'm seeing this big soldier as like the older you going and breaking this cage and freeing the younger versions of you that are carrying this pain. And Four of Wands is just a celebration and rejoicing. So this is pointing to a longer road of self-transformation and very deep inner healing. At bottom of the deck, you have Ace of Cups, which is just pure, complete pure happiness and a totally overflowing cup. And I love the image on this Ace of Cups because the water is like spurting out of the cup. So it's sort of like PMS and this healing is sort of flushing all this deep darkness out of your system, which might take a while, but you can flush all this nasty gunk out of your system, and the wounds and the pain and the isolation and the pointlessness, and you can flush it out and then have this like pure, clear water flowing through you. So that was a very like deep and intense pile. I hoped this helped. Good luck to you. It's a difficult road, but it's worth it in the end. And I hope this helped a little bit and can set you on a track to some healing. So let me know if you have any questions or anything below. And thank you for being here. I hope it helped a little bit. Bye. Okay, pile 4. How do you soothe your PMS? I wanted to bring through certain messages before I even pulled cards. So I'll go over those first. I was trying to get through what you go through when you PMS, and the issues that I feel for you is like an intense lethargy. It feels like your body just weighs like 1,000,000 pounds and you can barely just walk from, down the street. It's like you're being, like you have a mountain on top of you, or you've been like hit by a truck, or it just feels like your body doesn't want to move at all. Like you just want to sink down and just lay in this sort of compressed feeling and just sort of lay there like and just cry or be numb. But there is a lethargy and a big emphasis on physicality for this pile. I think that you might be someone who physicality is very important to you. Like you're someone who wants to exercise and eat right, or maybe you have a certain goal, like running a marathon or any sort of a physical goal, or you just enjoy physicality, like you go to a yoga class or a swimming class or something like that, where it is something that you're dedicated to and you want, and then PMS comes around and it's like your body doesn't even want to move. Everything becomes so much harder, and it feels like you're just like, even if you're walking down the street, it feels like you're just like sinking into quicksand and having to fight for every step. So that's the issue that I pulled through for you. The advice that I got before I pulled cards is, the main piece of advice is for you to go with your body and not fight against it. So I think that you're just intensely frustrated because exercise is important to you, and maybe you're trying to do like a weightlifting goal or something, so you're training on weights, and then PMS comes and it's like all your work goes out the window because you can barely lift anything, whereas a few days before you were killing it. So the advice is for you to eat and to exercise around your cycle and to go with your cycle instead of trying to use some sort of like blanket routine. Like I know they have like different exercises that you follow, something like a couch to 5K. It tells you exactly how much to run every day or something like that. For you, I'm feeling that you should, since you are in tune with your body anyway, for you to get further in tune with it and work with it instead of some plan that somebody sort of put out for you. So there'll be certain days of the month where you're like extra hungry those days, right? Because PMS and having your period can make you need more nutrients because your body's doing more. So maybe on those days you have like extra protein or extra, I don't know, if you need carbs at that time or something. It's also saying that you can use, there are different hormone balancing foods and teas that you can look into and have those at certain times or have those regularly, so it will help PMS not be so exhausting. And in general, it is for you to learn your cycle and be in tune with your cycle and exercise and eat around what your cycle needs. So for your like days where you're going to be exhausted, if you keep track of these things and you learn it, you know what those days are going to be, so that you're not frustrated when you go to the gym on those days and like you can't lift weights or you can't run or whatever it is that you're doing. You know, if you keep track and you really pay attention and learn yourself and learn your body, you can anticipate and know exactly what you're going to be capable of on what days, and you can put your sort of highest goals on the days of the month where you're going to be the strongest, and you know what days you're going to need extra food, what days you can do like when you're not PMSing or having your period, and you can do like an intermittent fast or something on those days. And it's really something that it's a lot, and it can be frustrating, but I feel like you're frustrated anyway. And I feel like you enjoy sort of body work and physicality. So if you look at it this way, as you sort of like body hacking, kind of like that it's something that you can almost really enjoy, because you'll figure out yourself and you'll figure out your own sort of efficiency, and you'll be able to get sort of this like maximum results, because you'll know yourself and your body so well. So I pulled some cards for you. I've already touched on it a little bit, but I pulled cards for how you can use PMS to benefit you. First cards are Knight of Wands and the Emperor. Emperor is like a master and has control over things and knows what's going on in like every part of the kingdom. And Knight of Wands is like the foot soldier, is someone that the Emperor can send to go do his bidding, and they're very effective and efficient, and Knight of Wands goes very fast. So this is giving me the idea that you really have the power here to not only just PMS, but to really sort of tap into the strengths at every point of your cycle and use them very efficiently. This could even be someone who, like, once you give the time and you figure yourself out and you get sort of your nutrients and your exercise sort of spot on, and you're just moving and living with such an incredible efficiency, because you're not just trying to do some blanket plan that has been laid out by someone who maybe doesn't even have a cycle like this. This could be something where you help other people do this, because I think you have an interest in physicality anyway. So this is something that I think you could really master and really flourish in. Next cards are Five of Swords and the Empress. Empress is pure feminine energy and like physicality. She's ruled by like Taurus, which is all about physicality and body and strength and enjoying your body. Five of Swords is like things working against you. I think you really have the ability to tap into working with your body and using your body and in the most efficient way, to the point where you could sort of find feminine strengths in the monthly cycle. Like, we see it as a purely negative, purely frustrating thing, which makes complete sense. But I think that you have the ability to, if you dedicate yourself to this, to really tap into the ways the monthly cycle can really utilize feminine strengths. Like, you can find the strengths of the monthly cycle and maybe how it can benefit us with food and physicality, and how we can use it more efficiently and effectively. And maybe there are some cool things that you'll discover about the cycle that you could tell other people, and they can really benefit from the knowledge that you gather just about your own body. Yeah, the next cards are Universe and Justice. And this is really about balancing the scales because you understand the bigger picture. Universe, I see, is like the big picture here. I think that there are things that like you aren't tapping into, that maybe people in general aren't tapping into about the cycle. And I think that you will be able to balance yourself to where you're using the monthly cycle to your advantage. And you don't have to be frustrated anymore, and you understand what is coming in when and how to use the cycle to its sort of maximum potential. Last card, Three of Pentacles, Five of Cups, and Queen of Wands. This is like pure instinctual power, is Queen of Wands. I feel like once you do this, you'll be able to transform your feelings of frustration and exhaustion into feelings of power, because you will have a handle on something that you currently feel like is controlling you in a way that you don't like. Three of Pentacles is like enjoyable work, and Five of Cups is your perspective. I think that you and a lot of people look at the frustrating things about PMS and how it can hold you back and how it's just annoying and frustrating. But I think you can get to a place where you sort of are enjoying learning about your body and learning about your personal cycle and how you need to eat and how you need to exercise to get this sort of maximum potential. And you could even be someone who the way you did it and how you do it inspires other people so that they can have their perspective shift. Like, you can shift your perspective and you can shift other people's perspectives so that they can follow sort of your routine and your example and figure out their own bodies and their own cycles and what works for them so that they can have maximum potential as well. So that's all I have for you. And that was a pretty cool message, I think, in the end. And I hope that it helped, and I hope that you can enjoy parts of the figuring out the puzzle of how to maximize sort of physical potential. And good luck, and thank you for watching. Bye.